Hi, my name's Colton Conover, and today I want to share with you an experience that I had in May of 2018. But before I dig into that, I just want to give a brief history of my spiritual beliefs prior to this year. I grew up in a church-going home until I was 12 or so. I went to church every Sunday, and when you're a kid, that really doesn't sink in very much. It's confusing, and you didn't follow through with it. And then from about the age of 13 or 14 till I was probably, I'd say 18, I was pretty much a non-believer. And from the age of about 19 to 25, to just about till I was 26, I was a pretty involved New Ager. I was in the New Age school of thought, and I had some really interesting experiences with that, and I thought I saw some really convincing documentaries, and I thought, man, I'm really onto something here, and it felt real. It feels good. That was until this year. I had some pretty interesting, life-changing experience that I would like to tell you about today, and I hope this helps other people. And so about late last year, one of my good friends, who I'll leave anonymous, gets a hold of me, and we were always interested in the paranormal stuff. My uncle was real big on. He was a medium that was nationally known, and so at a young age I got into ghosts and other paranormal stuff too, and so my friend, he's started getting into, and at this point, I'm not a believer. I have some New Age thoughts about the afterlife and spirits and stuff, and that's about it. And I've had several paranormal experiences before, nothing quite like this though. But my friend, he says, he gets a couple Ouija boards, and I was pretty skeptical about them. I didn't think, there'd be anything to it. And he said, come on, man, let's give it a shot. So we tried it, and the first time we tried it, nothing really happened. Our eyes got real big, like olives, and we sat there for 15 minutes or so trying to communicate. Nothing came through, so I thought, oh, that's good enough for me. I didn't expect to get anything. And then in May of this year, this is 4 or 5 months later, said, let's give it another shot. And I was hesitant, but I said, all right, we'll try it one more time. And we were hoping to maybe communicate with a former resident or maybe a former relative or something. And so we give it another shot, and we did one small extra gesture in this, and that, almost immediately we got a pretty strong communication with something. And we were going at it from a scientific point of view. We had a camera set up, and we agreed before it even started, obviously we're not going to move it on our own. It's it's either the board or nothing. We start out, and we get something. We do one little extra gesture on the board, and almost immediately something comes through and is talking to us. And the first question we ask, right out of the gate is, are you good or bad, or something along those lines. And its response was like, it depends on your perception of good and bad. So we thought that was interesting. And then we continued to talk. I think the first session was around a half hour. And it was, we were blown away. We couldn't believe we had actually got something to communicate. We asked it a bunch of questions, but nothing. It didn't really tell us its name. It just gave us some initials. And so we were high-fiving. This is cool. We're actually talking to somebody, and it was exciting. There was nothing scary about it. So we meet up the next day, do another session, probably lasted for an hour, videotape it, started getting a little more extreme answers, a lot of really hard-hitting questions. We just went home and thought of all the questions we could ask, and then hope to get whatever we were talking to again the next day. So we asked it, every question in the book, every burning question, and we got some really interesting responses. So we were into it, and again, we're high-fiving. This is great. Wow. Who would have thought? I surely did not expect it to get much, but we got some really wild answers. And again, we pressed this thing for its name. What's your name? What's your name? It wasn't really giving it up. It dropped subtle hints. When we had an idea of what we were talking to, there was a couple times in the second session I started to get the hints. We were, there was times where our hands would come off the board and the planchette would still be moving, and we had an EMF reader, an electromagnetic field reader, and there was a couple questions that when I asked, that thing went totally off, to past 10 on it. So it's really, really interesting. And I didn't. We kept it all pretty, related to the afterlife or to current events or to spirituality. A lot of questions, and the thing was friendly for the most part. And I didn't get any bad vibes or anything like that. But one little quick note is on that second day, I know there was a thing. I asked him, is there anything I could call you that would be offensive to you? And it spelled out Jesus. And I thought that's weird. I asked it, what's your beef with Jesus? He gave the classic. The pain and suffering and on his account, and that kind of stuff. So we, fair enough, we keep going. I really don't look much into that, because this was just such an exciting experience or whatever at the time, and so the third day we meet, and this time, in the past it had been cleared, you guys can record it, just don't show the video to anybody. You guys just use it for yourselves. And this time it said no camera. Can't use the camera this time. So we thought, okay, shut the camera off. And this session was a lot more intense than the previous ones. Got some really wild answers, that we were pretty shocked about. And everything that was coming through was just like, whoa, this is wild, about the afterlife and about a lot of different subjects. So as we're nearing the end, this last session was probably like an hour as well, and towards the end it does start to become a lot clearer what was going on. And we asked it are you a part of a hierarchy? And it, yes. And is spiritual warfare real? Yes. Do you guys influence people or manipulate people? Yes, definitely. A lot of stuff like that came through, and talked about politicians and the occult, and it was pretty clear that stuff's real. And we asked it. It said, I don't want to tell you whose hierarchy I'm a part of, because you guys probably won't like it. And we thought, okay. Then we started to kind of guess what was going on, and there was a few other things that were painted a picture of what we were talking to. But finally, after this 3 days of sessions, it was pretty clear that we were getting buttered up. I mean, we were coming to a point, ahead, or something that it wanted to ask of us. It was really clear that it wanted to talk to us. Said he's been waiting to talk to us for a long time, and also that you need my protection in the afterlife because of this reason and this reason. And finally it says, I can give you anything. I can give you money. I can give you psychic abilities. I can give you this. I can give you that. You need my protection. I can give this all to you if you worship me and worship yourselves. And I was just like, whoa, and then it spelled out its name. And we just so happened to have a dictionary of demons, dictionary of the occult sitting right next to us. Flipped it open, looked through it, found its name, and our eyes just got huge, because this was no casual demon. This was a demon sub-prince, and that we had been talking to this whole time. And so we say, we'll get back to you on that. I'm not making any commitments like that, because I don't value material stuff and nothing. I mean, this is a deal with the devil. I was never in it to do anything like that. We were hoping to maybe talk to a former resident of the house or that we were in, or something like that, but never did I expect that. And so everything's fine. We end the session, and I could talk about the sessions for hours. I mean, there was a lot of information there, but I'm just going to keep it brief, and I'll play a clip from them as well. Just so you know, it's legitimate. I have nothing to gain from making any of what I'm saying up. In fact, I was a pretty vocal opponent of Christianity and other major religions. I thought organized religions were a harm to society, and that they were fabricated. And so I was anyone who knows me personally knows that I've pretty vocal opponent of religion up until now. And so anyway, we end the session, we go home. I'm just blown away, and for the next, I don't make any commitments either way, but for the next few days my mind is obviously consumed by all of this. I mean, this was mind-blowing, and I really had a lot of hard pills to swallow, like that I was wrong about that stuff being fabricated or not real or fantasy or anything like that. I mean, it's very real. And so I'm swallowing these pills, and then I start to think, the guy says he's been with me for a long time, and I start thinking back to different points in my life where I could have been manipulated by something or under the influence, demonic influence of something. And so I thought, if I don't want anything to manipulate me. I don't want anything to influence me. So from there, I decide, I'm going to go ahead and cleanse my house. even though nothing weird had happened up until this point. I didn't feel anything. It didn't seem weird. But yeah, so I cleansed my house, and I used sage, which is a joke, and from there I used Jesus Christ's name. I remember back to the point where it said that it was offensive to call it Jesus, or just to use the term Jesus, and there was a few other things in reference to Jesus where you could tell there was an element of fear in the being. Like it wouldn't spell out the word Christ when it was spelling out Antichrist, and a few other things. But so I used Jesus' name, but at that point in time, I had no real commitment to really live for Christ, or give my surrender to Christ or anything like that. I just wanted to get everything away from me and then figure it out from there. And so I do that, and that's whenever I really start to look into what it means to be a Christian, and to keep this stuff away from me. That's whenever I could tell I really made an enemy. It was pretty clear. I've been playing for their team for a long time. I was an asset to Satan. Because I got a lot of people to doubt, so skilled in debates, and could successfly get people to question their belief systems and stuff. And so from there, once I started cleansing my house in Jesus' name, that's when everything really took a turn, because I made it clear I'm not selling my soul to anyone or making any deals, or if I would have had any kind of validation that Jesus was real up until this point, I would have believed. I mean, I was a good human being in my heart. I cared about people. I did the right thing even when no one was looking, or I just didn't believe that he was a true historical figure. And because I saw some really convincing documentaries and read some books that really led me to believe otherwise. And so from here, it became very tough to sleep at night. Out of nowhere, would start getting choked. My head would feel like it was on fire. My stomach was in knots. A lot of bumps in the night that weren't ever there before. And it was clear. And I looked up the symptoms of being under spiritual attack, and it was boom, 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 right down the line. Every symptom was exactly what I was going through. And I thought, is it just me? I live with my girlfriend Jen and my dog, and there was times where the dog would be barking at a certain part of the house, or I felt sick to my stomach one day, like super sick out of nowhere, and my dog was eating grass and very visibly shaken up and sick. And then Jennifer, who doesn't know this is going on, because I didn't want to freak her out or anything like that, she calls me and she's like, "Hey, I don't know why, but I feel like sick and scared, and I have no idea why. Like, what, will you come home?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'll be there." And I felt terrible. I'm thinking, wow, this is terrible now. Sorry. Now, this is rubbing off on my family, and I'm hurting the people I love the most, and like, this is, why would I do this? And finally, after going back and forth, I was trying to play both sides of the fence, because I didn't want to piss this thing off anymore, and I wasn't really sure exactly how to be a Christian yet. But finally, it comes to a point where I come to the realization, if I die, I'm going to be going to hell, like, no doubt. At this point in time, like, I don't even deserve to get into the kingdom. And so I finally one night I get down on my knees and I pray to God, and I say, I don't care if I get attacked every day for the rest of my life. I'm committing myself to you. I'm surrendering to you. And, it was emotional. I was, crying. This was like, I haven't slept. I've been, been getting attacked by something I can't see. And, and it was just a miserable, my family's suffering on account of it at a certain point. And I like I said, I got on my knees and begged for forgiveness, honestly, and with true intention of being a Christian from that point on. And at the time, I had concrete belief. I knew this stuff was real. There's no doubt. There was no questioning. I know it's real. And at that point, whenever I begged for forgiveness, it was like I wasn't expecting anything, but it was like electricity. It was just going through my body, and like in one instant I could feel like any darkness presence leave immediately, and I could tell that the Holy Spirit was there, and it literally felt like my body was like buzzing, and like 100-pound weight off my shoulders, and gave me a peace that I've never in my life felt. And it was just super comforting. It was like, I couldn't believe it. And I knew from that point forward, like, I'm gonna keep this promise, and I told God that night, I said, everyone I got to doubt, I will get twice as many people to believe in you. And that's partially why I'm making this video. I've told my story to a lot of my friends, close family and stuff, and I've had nothing but very receptive to it. So I pray, and God snaps his fingers and it's gone. And I start going to church every day. I start praying every day and going to church every Sunday, and really start to live a Christian life, and super rewarding. I was thinking at one point, like, why on earth would I do this with the board? And it dawned on me, I'm so grateful I did it, because if I wouldn't have had that experience, there was almost 100% chance I never would have found God. And there's no chance for me. I was so concrete in my belief that I didn't believe in that, and there was no way. And if I would have stopped coming after the second session, there was really nothing that was said that would have really changed my belief system at all. I would have just thought I was talking to a ghost. I tried to picture this every way, possible to justify, keeping my old belief system. Like, maybe it was just a ghost that we were talking to that was super powerful. And then I thought, why would it be so upset that I would pray to Jesus? And why would Jesus, save me like that if it wasn't real? Your mind just wants to. It's really difficult to change your whole belief system in a moment's time, but that's pretty much what happened. And I wouldn't take it back for anything. I have no regrets about the situation. It was very life-changing. Going to church and living for Christ has honestly brought me to life. Before all this, I had everything I could want. Wonderful girl, and a nice place, and loving family, everything I really was happy. Didn't financially struggle or anything like that. And but I had this apathetic view of life, like, there's no pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. It's you die and maybe you get to be a spirit afterwards or something. It was really a new age mindset, and all that apathy immediately left me, in a moment. And there was a lot of other things that a lot of other parts of me that just left in an instant whenever I really surrendered myself to Christ. So yeah, I hope this helps anyone out there. You know, I want to do my part and spread this word. And so if you want to share this video, feel free. But I hope it can reach the right people. And I know it's not going to change everyone's mind, but I hope it does what I hope it does, and that's to get people to rethink their spiritual beliefs, and you know, at the very least, do your own research and just don't rule out Jesus Christ and God and the Holy Bible. I mean, I thought it was total fiction before all this, and boy, was I wrong. So I don't rule it out, and honestly, do your own research. The stuff that made me believe that Jesus was fictitious, I went back and looked it up, and it was very easily disproven. Like the Zeitgeist series, that was one of my favorite movies. Everything that's mentioned in that is easily disproved in the religion part. So yeah, go back and check things out. Look a little deeper, because there's a reason the Holy Bible has withstood the test of time. And as far as Catholicism goes, I think that's a little deceptive, and I don't mean any offense to anybody who is a Catholic, but I think Christianity is the most purest form of worshiping Jesus, and anyone who's not actively a Christian, you are open to demonic influence. A lot of people think of demonic possession of like the Exorcist movies or something. No, it's more of a gentle influence, or very subtle. You know, the greatest trick the devil ever pulled was convincing the world he didn't exist, and that's so true. So yeah, keep that in mind. If you ever, you know, if you're not a believer, and even if you are a believer and you're not concrete in your faith, there's a good chance that there's hundreds, there's plenty of demons out there that serve different purposes, and they're not all like in the movies. You know, like Lucifer was beautiful. You know, he was the light bearer and the most beautiful angel, and you know, it's not like it's portrayed on TV. So, and just a quick warning. The New Age, if you're subscribed to the New Age belief set, be careful with that, because after this experience, I looked into it a little deeper, and there is virtually no difference between the Luciferianism or Satanism and the New Age, except for the New Age doesn't use the term Lucifer or Satan. That's it. Otherwise, they're very, very much alike. So be careful there. If you're a part of the New Age, then you're likely may have some demonic influence. And I would really suggest thinking about it, doing your own research, and you know, surrender yourself to God and ask for forgiveness, and make a commitment to Him. And yeah, that's my story from this year. It's very much an intense experience, and I wouldn't take it back for anything. I'm blessed that I was able to experience that and get the validation that I needed. So thank you very much for listening, and think about this and show this to other people that could use it. Thanks a lot.